Hi, here we are back in my MG6, and I thought I would do a video on how to use the in-car entertainment system in a Mark 1 MG6. I think it's a bit different for the Mark 2, as the Mark 2 has a different interface for the screen, but I believe the buttons might be the same. Anyway, lots of people say that this is quite a complicated system to use, but I don't think it's complicated. It's just useful to know what does what. So there's two buttons on the select and escape part with the twisty knob, and then there's this button here. Now, pushing it turns it on and off, easy peasy. Turning this wheel only does the volume. No matter what menu you're in, no matter where you are, this only does the volume. So if you ever want to scroll through a menu in any other section, you have to use the select wheel up here. So you can get to a lot of different places by doing lots of different things. For example, you can hit setup, which brings up the setup menu, and if you hit escape you go back. But you can also go menu, and then you can select setup by hitting select, and you got to the same place, just a bit more long-winded. And there's a few different things for that, which is a little bit strange. But if we hit escape, you'll go back every time. So mute is obvious. Mode, I can't get to do anything. I'm not sure what mode does. Source obviously cycles through auxiliary or a CD and then back to radio. Band is just for the radio, so FM and AM, etc. List is just for the radio, and that will pick up a list of radio stations, and then to search through there you use the scroll wheel up here and you can scroll through, and then if you want one you can just hit select and you go. TA stands for traffic announcements. That's quite good if you're in a long journey, and it will give you the traffic updates for whichever local station is nearest you. Dim is a two-stage function, so it will dim the screen off but leave the ribbon at the bottom, and then if you hit the button again you can turn that off, which is quite useful for night driving, as the dim function for all the gauges, which is located over here, this wheel, I don't think it goes dim enough, so you can section it here, and I think if you hold this down it will reset the screen. I've never done that, I'm not going to do it right now. Setup we went in earlier, so that brings up display setup, speech setup, I believe, for the sat nav, and another input for the auxiliary. So if you hit select you can then change lots of things within just the display, and then we can go exit. EQ is your equalizer, so when you first press it this comes up and you can use the scroll wheel to select whichever you think is a good preset. But if you hit EQ again on this screen you get your bass, and you can scroll through by continuously hitting the EQ, and then you get treble, I think you get balance and left and right, and then you get loudness. I always have the loudness on because it sounds a lot better. You get the fader, and there's the balance, and then that's the speed dependent. So if you go faster on the motorway it will automatically make the volume a bit louder because of the background noise. I always have that off because I like to be in control, I think. And then you come back through, so you can scroll all the way through all of these and then back, and then at any point escape and you come back here. Lots of people have I think, moaned about the system in here not sounding very good, and I believe that is because they have not set up the equalizer system properly. You want a bit of bass, you want a bit of treble, and you want active loudness, and the system sounds a lot better. And where else are we? We've got information, which will give up any messages or notifications, which there aren't any. And then you've got the navigation system, which is not the best, but reasonably easy to mess about with. And then if you've got the phone, you've got divert. And I should have probably looked up what RPT stands for. Maybe somebody can put it in the comments. They can help me out so I don't have to read the book. And that's about it. If we go escape, back to mode. Mode goes back to the radio. So that will be what the mode was earlier, which I didn't know. So if you're in sat nav and hit mode, it will go back to the radio. So let's just go menu. We've got setup menu, USB and SD. So that is what plugs in your little cubby hole down here. If we remove my sunnies, I have a Bluetooth plugged in, Bluetooth receiver plugged in, and it's powered by the USB, and it's plugged into the auxiliary port in there. So I can stream from my phone, which is quite useful. Audio source must be the same as the other source, so that's just underway. And then map menu, so if we hit select, there's some other options for the sat nav, and then that's just the sat nav menu where you can enter your destination and other menus. So I'm not going to go into how to work every single part of the sat-nav, but that just gives you an overview of the in-car entertainment system, and gives you a bit more background on how to use it. There are a few issues I find with the CD player. If I hit source now, it recognises there's a CD in there, but if I turn the car off and came back to it tomorrow, source would not find there's a CD in there, and I would have to hit eject, put the CD in, and it would recognise it again. It's about the only fault, I think. Some people say the CD players don't last very long and they're not very well made, which could well be true. Anyway, that's about it. I hope this video helps you out a bit. Thanks for watching.